Hey there, Retro Games fans, this is Andy C from Piece of 8. Welcome back to another episode of The Bit Between, and we are continuing our month with the Nintendo Game Boy throughout August. And this week we're going to be looking at another Game Boy game, yes, you guessed it, and it is the fabulous Donkey Kong Land, which was released in 1995 and developed by Rare. Now this is essentially their attempt to bring the Donkey Kong Country experience to Nintendo's little monochrome handheld. But importantly, this isn't actually a port of Donkey Kong Country. Rather than simply trying to squeeze the SNES game onto the Game Boy, Rare created a brand new adventure, all complete with its own levels, its own environments, enemies, and of course its own bosses as well. But visually, they still tried to pull off the same trick that had made Donkey Kong Country so spectacular. In fact, actually, the development for this game actually started slightly before Donkey Kong Country, but you can definitely see the DNA of that game in here as well. Basically, they took the 3D models that were pre-rendered, converted them into Game Boy sprites, which gives Donkey Kong Land a really surprisingly detailed look for such limited hardware, which we'll see, obviously, in a moment. And technically, it is seriously impressive stuff. You've got those large characters, lots of detailed backgrounds, some really cool, excellent animation, and all of that detail, you've got to remember, is appearing on our little 8-bit 4-shade Game Boy screen, and it can sometimes make it a little difficult to see what's going on. But it is impressive stuff nonetheless. The soundtrack's also quite impressive, with music from David Wise and Graham Norgate. They were doing their best to capture some of that Donkey Kong atmosphere through the Game Boy's sound hardware. And of course, Donkey Kong Land is instantly recognisable for another reason. That is that really wonderfully vibrant banana yellow cartridge. Now, the game was a huge success, sold around 3.9 million copies, and it became the start of its own Game Boy trilogy. We had Donkey Kong Land 2, which followed in 1996, and Donkey Kong Land 3, which followed the year after in 1997. Both, again, arriving on those fabulous banana yellow cartridges. And here's where things could potentially get a little bit confusing, because an actual port of Donkey Kong Country did eventually appear on Nintendo's handhelds. It arrived on the Game Boy Color in 2000, and it brought the SNES game itself into a Nintendo handheld 5 years after Donkey Kong Land. So Donkey Kong Land is an interesting little moment in Game Boy history. It's not Donkey Kong Country, and it's not really trying to replace Donkey Kong Country. In fact, it is Rare really asking the question, how close can we get to that experience on this little handheld? And considering the hardware they were working with, the answer is, well, pretty close, I would say. But, you know, that technical achievement is one thing. Question we have to ask ourselves, is Donkey Kong Land still actually fun to play today? Let's dive into some gameplay for 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll talk about it as we have a look at it. Let's dive in right now, and I'll see you in there. Right then, let's have a look at Donkey Kong Country. As always, for the purposes of recording, we are emulating this. I have been playing this, again, as always, on the Game Boy quite a lot. So doesn't really matter which we pick now, so obviously we've got to start again. Okay, right, so now, straight away, one thing you'll notice on this big screen is there's a lot of detail packed into a very small screen, then rendered onto a larger screen. So Donkey Kong looks pretty low res, but obviously you've got to remember that you're going to be playing this on the Game Boy's little handheld screen. Now, as I mentioned, I'm playing this on an emulator, and I think one of the things that I would say is when you're playing this on the thing itself, hang on a minute, when you're playing the game itself, I was trying to talk and concentrate at the same time, always a bad combination, it does render really nicely on that little Game Boy screen actually. So very similar to Donkey Kong Country in terms of the controls. We can roll around, oh yeah, we've got the other crate there, so we've got Diddy Kong, fabulous. And you'll recognise as well, if you can hear it just in the background there, that soundtrack, which is absolutely fabulous, of course. I'll collect the bananas. And the bananas are brown, obviously, because what this is doing is it's rendering it on a on a Game Boy Color screen on the emulator, through the emulator. So it's the Game Boy Color would typically work out. Why did that not spin? That's really annoying. The Game Boy. There we go. The Game Boy Color would try and figure out, what the colours were. It does a pretty good job, I think, despite the bananas being brown. I have played Donkey Kong Country as well on the Game Boy Color, and it is really fabulous. Actually, it is quite the feat. But I think this is as well. I think this is really impressive. Again, we're going to catch the K, O, and the N, and the G. So it's just. The controls, as always, are a little bit fiddly on the. Nope, I can't do it. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. Right, let's do better. No. I can jump, but I just didn't have time. Right. There we go. I'm just giving away lives for no good reason at all. I am normally better at this game, but clearly I'm recording, so as always it goes hideously wrong every single time. Right. I can also jump on stuff like that. Oh, for goodness sakes. That's actually really annoying. That's my own stupidity. I'm annoyed with myself. I'm disappointed with myself. One thing I didn't mention actually was the critics scores in the introduction there. So it was pretty well received, this game. Sort of got quite. There was some sort of lower end scores. I just had a look earlier, about sort of 4.5. Some 4s, some sort of 75%. So sort of in the region of between, 80 to 100%. So sort of some people really loved it. I think the soundtrack is fabulous as well, of course. Oh, for goodness sakes. Right, okay, I need to actually pay attention to what I'm doing here, because I'm not really doing a very good demonstration of this game here. Let me just try and get a little bit further on. I am losing lives for no good reason here at all. Right. Because I don't need to actually kill everything that is around necessarily, so let's just jump on this guy and stop mucking about. Right. It's definitely got that. Obviously, got that Donkey Kong Country vibe about it. But as you can see, the levels are similar. Like it's a similar style in terms of what you're doing. But it is different. Oh, let me get one there. Oh, for goodness sake! I did that last time as well. What's an absolute doofus. Oh, there we go. That's useful. Right, okay, that gives me a little bit of respite. So as with all the Donkey Kong games, Donkey Kong Country as well, of course, you pick up your Diddy Kong and... I do actually have to go that way. Oh, he's got a really short run there, hasn't he? Oh, why didn't I not land on him? There we go, and there's the Rhino, something which will also be quite familiar. There we go. Useful timing for that. And the downside of this is that I have, on occasion... There's my checkpoint. I can't remember what I was saying there. I have fallen down that ravine a few times as well before. Yeah, I've played this a little bit, but I never actually played this game originally on the Game Boy. Yeah, I think I spent about 95% of my time playing... Oh, hello. I don't remember this. Oh, it's a bonus level. This is the first time I've seen this. I obviously haven't played it that well. Like I said, I haven't played it that much. Why am I... there we go. Oh, I see what I've got to do here. Right, okay. Interesting. Oh, but I lose my Rhino, which is kind of annoying. There we go. Fabulous. And then I think that is the end of the level. There we go. So when I actually concentrated, I could actually do it. I really shouldn't have struggled that much on the first level there. Right, there we go. So I have now saved. I'm now in the next level. So let's do the next level for a little while, and then we'll probably wrap up, because I have been playing this also on the Game Boy as well. So I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of a flavour for it. Hopefully you're already starting to get a view. It's a bit... Oh, I missed the little bloom thing there. Ah! Crikey. Oh, goodness sake. Last time I did this level, I just sort of managed to time it, so I bounced over on both of them together, which is really cool. Oh, I really am making an absolute dog's breakfast of this. Really bad. I don't know why I'm being so terrible at it today. I don't know whether it's just I don't know. I'm not gonna make excuses. I always making excuses for the controller. I'm not gonna do that. I just need to be better. Just do better. Just do better, man. That's better. I think this game benefits a lot from actually sort of playing it a bit quicker, if you know what I mean. I think oh, I nearly come a cropper there, didn't I? I think it definitely benefits from being played at a quicker speed. And I think the problem I've got is that I'm being a little bit too cautious because I'm trying to talk at the same time. Oh, that was... I could have done that better. I should have just rolled around. Oi. Oh, nearly got in trouble there as well. Okay. Yeah, I think it benefits from actually being, you know, just sort of playing it a little bit faster. I think it just sort of works better that way. Now that was definitely a controller issue there, because I definitely pressed jump there and it just didn't do it. All right, so let's just try it a little bit more. Oh no! Went for the balloon. Shouldn't have gone for the balloon. Yeah. Well, I apologise for this. This is what seems to happen on the bit between every time I play these games, and then I come onto the emulator and I play it on here, and then I'm absolutely hopeless, which does not give you a great view of what the games are like. Hopefully you're getting an idea. I hope so. See what I mean as well? When you play a little bit quicker, it just seems to flow a little bit better. Well, you have to remember not to jump on those things, because those sort of... I don't know what they are. Are they like flying pigs or something? Yes, we go. That's better. Better behaviour. Whoa. I don't want to go down there. There we go. No. Oh, goodness me. Oh, that was silly. Right, how am I going to do this? Not like that. Right, this is absolutely the last chance now. The last time, last life. Next time I die, that's it. I'm going to go to wrap up and spare you good people from this absolute torment. Oh, come on, I was spinning there. That's a scam. I'm kind of annoyed about that. I think it assumes that that's going to happen to you as well, because there's that implication there that you needed another Diddy Kong barrel. I don't like those bouncing dudes there. They're a nuisance, aren't they? Ah. Oh no! Crying out loud. Oh, you just... Oh, of course, yeah, you just fall down. Look, I promised you that's what was going to happen. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to review. I just realised I'm actually on my last life. This is really appalling. Yes. That, on the other hand, not so good. So I think we're just going to... Let's just exhaust our last life here. I can't actually remember what I did. I've definitely got further than this, so... I mean, the thing is as well with these Donkey Kong games is they are tricky. I mean, Donkey Kong Country is not an easy game either. I absolutely adore that game, but it is not an easy game. It is fraught with tricky bosses, and we're not even going to get to a boss, unfortunately, but fraught with lots of difficult bosses to defeat, and it is a hard game to play. Oh, I just fell off. I absolutely jumped there. Right, look, I'm going to spare all of you good people from this torment any further. Let's go to wrap up, and I'll tell you what I thought of Donkey Kong Country. I'll see you in my review. Well, there you go. That is Donkey Kong Land on the Game Boy, and this emulated version obviously is the Game Boy Color render of that. So there you go. Well, what did I think? Well, I've absolutely loved playing it on the Game Boy. We'll put it like that. I've absolutely loved playing it on the Game Boy. It's absolutely brilliant. Playing it on the emulator, clearly, I'm absolutely hopeless. I don't know whether it's playing it on the bigger screen. I don't know whether there's a bit of controller lag. I say this every time. I don't want to... A bad workman blames their tools. That's what they say. I don't want to keep blaming the emulator for me being absolutely hopeless at it. That was just a hopeless run. I think probably trying to talk as well doesn't help. But hopefully it did give you a bit of a flavour of the game, and hopefully you'll recognise that game. If you've never seen it before, you'll recognise it from Donkey Kong Country. This is not a game I'd ever played myself before, to be honest. I think I said that in the playthrough there. I only ever played Donkey Kong Country on the... I think I played Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Color, but obviously played it on the SNES. Fabulous, fabulous game that is. Wonderful game. Absolutely adore it. So I think probably... if I was playing this game back in the mid-90s, I probably would have absolutely loved this. I think, you know, I think I would have just thought this was so cool, being able to take a Donkey Kong game on the go with me that feels like Donkey Kong Country, but is actually something a little bit different as well. So I think I probably would have really loved this game. It is a little bit... there are a few little things. It is a little bit tricky to see what's going on a lot of the time. It is quite busy on the screen, but I think that is a small detail. I think the soundtrack sounds really good, and it's obviously recognisable. I think it's impressive what they've achieved with the sound hardware capabilities of the Nintendo Game Boy. It's a really, really lovely soundtrack, and it's very, very Donkey Kong. Now, obviously, if you're going to play this game, don't go playing it on emulator. You can just see how it doesn't really scale up to a big screen, even a YouTube screen. If you're watching this on your phone, it still looks pretty ropey. So play it on the Game Boy. It just somehow on that small screen just works perfectly. It just works really, really well. So it is better to play on there. And I promise, I have had better success playing it on there, and have played it quite a bit actually. I think I played Donkey Kong Country 2 briefly, and again, quite a different feel to it. Same sort of gameplay style, but different feel, different levels. You know, it completely feels like a completely different game again. I've not played Donkey Kong Country 3, so I can't really comment on that. But like I said, I have played Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Color, Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Color. It is fantastic, and it is good fun to come back to this game. Played Bonanza on the Switch 2, which has been an absolutely fabulous game. Actually, I need to go back and finish that. Yeah, it is. These early games are just so fantastic. I really, really enjoy them. But yeah, there are just a few little things that mean it's not a 5 for me. I think I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. It is still a fantastic game, and if you've got a Game Boy, I would definitely go and seek it out. It is really good, especially if you enjoy the Donkey Kong games. But I think I would generally recommend that you go find Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Color, or obviously go and play the original Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. I think those are, in my opinion, are better games. But I do think that Donkey Kong Land is fantastic, and I think it is a great technical achievement considering the limited capabilities of the Game Boy, of course. So yes, absolutely fantastic, really, really good. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Fantastic soundtrack. Amazing what they've achieved to squeeze in there. Feels like a proper Donkey Kong game. Doesn't really have to sacrifice too much to fit it on the monochrome display. So yeah, go check it out, but go check it out on a Game Boy. Don't try it on the emulator. That would be my advice to you. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. If it brings back some memories for you, please do add some comments below if you played any of the other Donkey Kong games, or if you have any general comments at all. Just obviously drop your comments in the comment section below. Love hearing all of your thoughts on these games. Now, coming up on the channel on Friday this week, we're going to be looking at Tetris. Now, I haven't done Tetris as a bit between because I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about the game than I usually do in the bit between, because it is so important. It's such an important game for the Game Boy, and why the Game Boy was such a massive success. So we're going to be talking about Tetris this week, and then next week, next week I think I'm going to look at Pokemon, and that will probably be... will that be the last game? No, we might have time for one more, but I'm going to have a look at Pokemon next week, because Pokemon is also an incredibly important game. So we're going to be looking at that in the bit between. That is at least my plan currently. So we're going to be having a look at that, and then next week as well, I'm thinking Friday is a very real chance that we might have a pickups video And there's a really good reason for that, but I will leave you all guessing as to why that is. And there might be a little bit of an unboxing as well at the same time, but I'll leave you guessing because no, I will leave you guess. I'm not even going to give you any clues. There are clues around, but I won't give you I'm not going to tell you. So you'll have to figure it out for yourselves. But yeah, that's probably what's going to happen next week, I think. And then, of course, it will be the following week. I think we're just going to be sneaking into September by the time I do the final wrap up, I think, unless I decide to do that next week. So anyway, I'm rambling. I'll shut up now. If you do enjoy these videos, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate your support. Hit the bell icon for any notifications, of course, as well. We will be back on Friday. Obviously, go check out my website as well for some written articles relating to the Bit Between reviews that I do, and also the main feature articles that I do. You'll see the article that I did on Gunpei Yokoi, who essentially is the father of the Game Boy, but so much more to Nintendo. I did that video, and there's a written article about that as well, so go check that out on piecesof8bit.com, and you can also find all links to all my videos there as well. Right, get my breath. That is it. Thanks all for watching. Please do all take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye for now.